Alright. They're receiving my content. Am I content? I am live. Stream health yellow, whatever that means. Viewers may be experiencing minor issues. Okay. Hi everybody, if anyone is watching. Today I have decided that I'm going to be using After Effects and Premiere to make responsive graphics for my channel. Because, quite simply, if I didn't do this live, I'm procrastinating. I've been a bit busy with baby. Or not. Okay. Yeah.
Baby.
It's, hello. Yeah, been a bit preoccupied looking after this little potato for the past 7 hours or so. So, without further ado, I'm going to get the intro tape running for what may be the last time before the new intro gets made today. And we'll show you that right now. Here we go. Goodbye, baby. Not sure why, there we go. Not sure why YouTube is telling me that my stream health is yellow. I'm going to up my encoding quality and see if that does anything. If not, then, well, we have what we have today. There's no reason why it should be particularly bad. There's nothing clogging up our bandwidth, unless we blame that on BT. So, onward. This is what I have so far. I've been working on this. This is a video that's not been released yet. This is on the Roland Blues Cube tone capsules. But I figured that a lot of the videos I'm going to be doing from now on, I'm going to be putting a lot of text in trying to describe things. And that's quite tricky in itself. I made this in After Effects. And you can see here that this has got a title that I can change live. And one of the funkier things is where it says tone capsule. If I add a load of text in there, did you notice the ellipse here, the square, whatever you want to call it, it changed shape, which is exactly what I wanted almost. And one of the things is that at the end here, I've had to put a fade because it's kind of indeterminate as to how long the clip is, and what I really wanted was for it to just kind of pop back out again. Like if you watch this from the start, if I just do this frame by frame, you should see it fades in, the Hot Pole Studios logo fades in, then everything else just kind of moves in bit by bit. So when I hit play, it's kind of cool. It just pops in. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get rid of this, essentially, and recreate it inside Premiere, which would give me the ability to do the responsive design thing. Then when that's done, and we're happy with that, then we're going to move on, and I think I'm going to use Premiere rather than After Effects. I'm going to try and use Premiere to redo the intro sequence, which I've decided I've changed it, and it's going to be significantly shorter than it was last time, because I'm thinking that the intro screen that I had, it goes on too long. From other channels that I've seen, I need it to be maybe 10 seconds max, and I wanted to put a subtitle in there that I can change at a moment's notice. So every video, without having to re-render anything, I can have really cool fades and wipes and stuff, and have some text in there that just is changeable every time I drop this in, and that's where the new Essential Graphics comes in. So I'm going to use Essential Graphics here. What I'm going to do, firstly, is I'm going to recreate this, like I said. So let's go to some space where there isn't an Essential Graphic. And there's my face staring out at you. And I've got the Essential Graphics tab open, so I'm going to press this new layer button up here, and I'm going to start with a rectangle, which I'm going to pop down here and I'm going to make it that big by default. And I'm going to change a few things because there's a load of align and transform stuff here that wasn't here originally. So I'm going to give it a black fill, a white stroke, which I'm going to change until it's about right. If I click away from it, it doesn't quite look like the original one yet. Let's see what we can do with that shape. So it's where I want it to be. And I want the opacity to be slightly less. So we're looking at it. Yeah, so I want just a little less opacity than 90%. I want it to be quite dark because I want this to go behind the text to give it a bit more visibility. I've found if I just use text without any kind of background or shadowing, it's quite hard to read. But I want it to be kind of see-through in a way, kind of like a frosted glass kind of effect. I think I will go a little darker, actually. I'll go at 95%. Wow. Toggle animation for opacity. Yes. Yeah, so I want that to be animated. And let's animate this to come in. Before I do, anchor point, rotation. What I really wanted to be able to change was the shape's parameters. Nope, don't render. Oh, that's just for the mask. That's useless. Didn't want a mask. I wanted... Well, I suppose that's all you get in Premiere. So let's just go with the square edges for now. If I find a way to change the path of it to soften the edges off, and I'm sure someone will tell me after I've finished, that would be amazing. However, it's not the end of the world. What I wanted to do, let's zoom in on the timeline. So let's put this at 2 minutes and 20 seconds exactly so we can mark out the time. It's just a nice round number. So if I say 2 seconds in, I want this shape to be exactly in place. So if I go to position and animate that by clicking that button, and then go to the start of the graphic and then drag it to the X. Yep, so if I drag that all the way off screen, that should now, if I hit play, the clean volume in this, there we go, that comes on screen in a set amount of time. And if we look down here, we can see, yeah, let's make that a little quicker. And I'm going to make these an auto bezier so that these should oh, okay, well, that was supposed to slow down and stop, and it didn't. Let's just turn them into a normal bezier. Why is that not smooth? Also, let's add an opacity point here and make it 0% to begin with so it fades in as it comes in, because that's the kind of thing that I want it to do, except that I want all these to be much smoother than this. Spatial interpolation, Bezier. Why? Why are you just going dunk? Ease in and ease out. That's what I want. Oh. Temporal interpolation, ease out. There we go. I can see it just kind of gently stops now. That's what I was after. So that gently stops. And the opacity does. And So this, where it says graphic, this is where let's build this up first. Let's build the entire intro. So now our shape comes in. Next thing we'll want is, let's just rename this to background square. Now let's add in our logo, which I know where my file is for that. So that's under common files, 2016 logos, that one. Oh, so that logo needs to be way smaller in this instance. And I want that to be there. Because I want branding on everything. Of course I do. If anyone has any questions, by the way, feel free to fire away. But this is mostly just a stream for me to crack on and make sure that I actually get this done. And if anybody learns anything from it, fantastic. But yeah, I want my logo. Pin it to the background square. Oh, nope. I was hoping that would do something to it, but it didn't. But yeah, that's roughly where I want that to be. And so let's just rename that to just logo. Makes it easier to read. Let's make a new text layer. Call that. Oh, let's just add the text in for that. So that's going to be in the favorite font of mine, Din Pro. It's going to be bold. It's going to be there. It's going to be size 72. And it's going there. And it's going to be header at top. And let's just add another text layer underneath. And that's going to be aligned there. And the text is going to be much smaller on this. So this is Din Pro Light 50? Yeah. So if I make that new text layer with another line and a third line. Okay, so let's edit this. So we want the gap between the lines to be a little less, so they all bunch. Oh, -12 maybe? Oh, someone sent me a message. Adam Kyril. Hey, how you doing? Like I was saying previously, any questions, fire away, but this is kind of a chill stream, as it were. So, let's just... This is where it gets clever. If I pin this to background square, or was it the other way around? And use the right-hand side of that for pinning. Oh, stop making me new text layers. This is really irritating. If I do that. No. So, was it the other way around? If I pin that to the text, the right-hand side of it. So now if I change that, yes, but if I also pin the left-hand side to it so that it doesn't just move across, let's see if that does it. Yes, bingo, right, there we are. So I've pinned both sides, so if I make the title, there we are. Yeah, so that's now pinned to that. And do I also then pin this one to that in terms of size? Is that how that works? background square and do it that way. Does that? No. See, I know that I've now got a responsive header so that as a, oh, no, right, okay, so I definitely want that not to be pinned like that. Because that'll expand. Ooh, we do not want that. But it's good to experiment. Right, so I want my text to finish coming in here. And I'm going to do the opacity on both of these from this time. But I'm going to go back half a second and I'm going to have this text animate in from 0 here and the other text animate from 0 a little further back. So hopefully, yeah, they come in just a little off from each other, and if I zoom in, yep, so I'm on the right keyframe. I want this one to just animate its position just a little, like so, and pop back to that keyframe and go to the other one and have that position automated to move just a little before that. So that without interfering with that logo, hopefully. Ah, that's the other thing, the logo never actually faded in. So that can fade, so it's full opacity there and 0 opacity there. And what I'm doing is I'm purposefully staggering everything so that nothing fades in at the same time. So it's all kind of a gentle, almost fluttering. Oh. Right, so that doesn't work for that header in terms of the positioning. And that's because, where am I looking on here? There we go. Is that the header at the top? Yeah. So let's just zoom in over here. So that's where we want it. Oh. That's the furthest the header graphic can go without obscuring the logo, and the position of it, or the opacity even, needs to come in much later. That's only about 3 frames worth of opacity, right? So they need to be further back, which means that the logo, there we go. So this all needs to just be eased a bit, as does all of this. Beziers, ease everything. Okay, so that's looking a bit better now. Now this is where this gets a little interesting, because this is where this whole graphic thing has, if I zoom in, I wonder why that's gone pink instead of blue, but let's just look at, that's where the very last keyframe is. So if I grab this little blue thing here, if I can, that now becomes the intro duration. This is where the responsive graphics comes in. So if you look at the responsive graphic time over here, it says intro duration 1 second 13. So if I hit play on that, that's how it should be. If I change the intro length to be much longer, that should. No. Yeah, no, that's right. I'm not sure why you would change the intro duration, but the outro duration can definitely be changed. Anyway, let's get this finished. So let's make it, yeah, a 5-second long thing. And practically speaking, I'll want to do everything that we've already done, but backwards. So let's delete that keyframe. Get all these end keyframes here. See if I can just copy and paste them over to near the end. Okay, so, because I don't just want a good old boring fade out, as dependable as they are, I kind of want everything to pop back out, if I can. But then by doing it this way, it's a little bit circuitous, it's a bit of a long way round, but the idea is that once I've told this where the outro and intro are, if I just scale the entire thing, the intro and outro should stay at the end, and all that animation part goes with it, so that I just have to change the length of it then, and that's done. And if I change the text every time I drop this in, which of course I will, then the size of that rectangle back there will change accordingly without me having to change any more parameters. All I will have to do is go, bang, it's this long, here's the text, move on. And because I do this so many times, at last count I've done 350 videos, and if I'm going to do 2 a week every week, then, and a lot of this is going to have a lot of text describing what's going on so that people can see it. I don't want to be wasting 15 minutes every time. If I can get that down to 20 seconds, that adds up really quickly. So this time now that I'm investing should hopefully be worth it. So let's just get all these keyframes from the beginning. Oh, let's just do this one by one. Let's just make sure we get this right. These here and that one there as well. So if I hit play from here, yeah. So where's my rectangle stuff? Shape. So that needs to go at the very end.
Much more.
Yeah, so everything fades out and then it pops away. Awesome. Now, where did everything... Let's zoom in a bit. Make sure all of those keyframes have been included in the outro. And make sure all the other keyframes have been included in the intro. Now if I hit save, should save regularly, can you see there's little white bars here and here? If I make this longer, that should just, yep, that's just gone with it. So if I make that longer, that's going to stay. Oh.
In this mode responds much more.
The hell? Right.
The clean volume in this mode
Why is that bouncing around?
The clean volume.
Okay, right. Is that because those two are Beziers? Do they need to be...
Clean volume in this mode responds much more.
No, let's just have a look at... Flatten that right out.
In this mode responds much more.
What? Let's just delete that keyframe. And put that in there and see if that... Why is that moving? This is where Premiere sometimes gets really annoying, where in After Effects I could just flatten that out and just be like, nope.
The clean volume in this mode responds much more to power amp saturation.
Spatial interpretation linear?
In this mode responds more to power amp.
That might get it.
The clean volume in this mode responds much more to power amps.
Bingo. Okay. Yeah, you've just got to be careful with that kind of thing. I mean, it's really quite annoying, but there we go. So, I now have a finished Premiere only essential graphic. And let's just make that 5 seconds long again. That noise you can hear in the background is my poor laptop, which I'm working on panicking because I'm using the desktop PC to do the streaming. So everything's slightly out of kilter here, but yeah, the outro duration. Yep, everything. I'm not going to press the roll button because that just sounds like trouble. But let's right click this and export as motion graphics template. Specifically, lower third Premiere. Blur, 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 blur. Local drive. I'm going to put this specifically in my Dropbox so that I have a copy saved. There we go. So that should now be, if I go back to browse essential graphics, I should be able to import that. So that should be, as you can see from these, I've been experimenting with lower thirds and essential graphics and everything. And the end card that I now have, with the thanks all the Patreons, I did kind of like this, but in After Effects. So then I could have more motion animation and that kind of thing. But that means that at the end now I can thank specific patrons without having to re-render an entire graphic every time. So where did that Premiere? There we are. Ah! So that goes in there, gets loaded up, and we see our starts and finishes. Fantastic. Copy to library. HPS for Hop Pole Studios. Yes. So now if I browse my templates specifically in the HPS library, I'm getting there now. Right. So, yeah. Cool. Tells me some interesting things about stuff here if I go into info for that one. Yeah, so it gives me that, sizes, all sorts. These files are tiny as well because what's it got in it? One PNG, a shape, and some text. But the way that I've done this exactly, now I can drop this in over and over and over in all my different projects. And if it's not long enough, like we said, then I can just make it longer. I can make it shorter. That has now saved me tons of time. So I'm going to keep that in mind and do those in Premiere from now on. Now, we move on to the more complicated part of the afternoon, which is the new intro screen. So the first thing I'm going to do is close down Premiere, and I'm going to see if I got my... grab my iLock and show you the kind of new remixed, improved version of the theme song, which has been mixed and shortened in Le Premiere. So let's get this up. The videos that I've been making comparing all the different VST stuff. Ooh. Software actuation. Okay, sure. Refresh what you will. And yeah, I decided to go back and with all the different amps that I'd been reamping and using virtual amps, find what sounded best in there, because it's kind of a new version of me playing it, new amps, new mix, new me, and just decided, right, here's this section, that section, even a little bit of vocal, which I managed to mash out of 2 different syllables to make something that sounds more like a representation of what I do. It's taking ages to load, probably because it's... wait for the program to respond. Oh. It's... come on, what's the word? Yeah, it's refreshing all my licenses. So let's just make sure this isn't deafening. Yeah, so this is how it is now. Okay, cool. So, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to try and make the new intro screen entirely in Premiere rather than using After Effects. I'll see if that's possible. Trying to remember how I did the original one, because I may need to just generate myself a couple of assets. Yeah. If I just generate myself a couple of assets, make the main part of the video just as a straight MP4 file, and then add the text and the wipe fade at the end and the opacity in the essential graphic part of it. I've already rendered this out as a WAV file, so what I'm going to do... oh, if you're interested, the amps I chose in the end for this were the 2 Notes La Lead preamp going through a Mesa 5050 power amp back into a 2 Notes captor into my wall of sound 4x12. I think I'll still take a little bit of upper mid out of that because it's still a little bit honky. Let's have a listen to that now. That snare just seems to jump out a bit too much. Let's take some air off the cymbals and maybe off the ambient mics as well. There's no air on there, that's interesting. Well, let's just filter the top then and see if that does anything, and then just take a bit of 7K snap away from the ambience. It might be the ambience that have just got a bit too much clank. That's 560. And again. Just have a listen to that. This is what always happens when I listen to this on different headphones or... Or maybe just also a little too much clank on the bass as well. Let's add that clank back, but lower down, rather than 3K. Yeah. 1.6K, that's my jam. That's got that real Rex Brown kind of grunt to it. Nice. And that vocal there is the vocal that I did for the room tone demo, but it's actually 2 words jammed together. Because for the start of the chorus I went, hey! Just with one short burst. And then the other word, I think it was the clouds. Ah! So I just put the 2 together to make one word. It wasn't perfectly in tune either, so the auto-tune, let's just see what happens if it's a little faster. So it actually says ho, but hey. It actually says exactly what the guy in chat, Adam Carroll, said, which is hey-oh. And yeah, as it stands, I have no issue with using something like auto-tune as long as it's kind of... I mean, in this particular circumstance, I could have recorded the vocal another 20 times and got it absolutely nailed, but in this case, I already just had the audio and just stapled it together. And I thought it represented my channel fairly well, so I just went with it. I'm just gonna add, if I can, just a real shotgun bang to that snare. Last thing, probably. And just remove everything else from it. Probably don't have, yeah, we don't have that many snare hits in it. So I'm just gonna loop the snare hits and change this reverb out for something that's far more in your face. There's another thing, the snare itself has a bit too much top and not enough weight in it. Let's get that Neve low end in there. There we go. Probably roll some top away from that reverb on this one, because we don't want this becoming super obvious in the mix. We just want to miss it when it's gone. Let's call this snare verb. Okay, let's just take a break away from the audio for a second. Hit save. Deep breath. Listen again. Got even more pre-delay on that. Why not? Classic. Alright, so let's get this rendered out. 48K, 24-bit. Theme shot 2018, mix 2. Yep, so it's 34 seconds long, which is way too long, but most of it is just that kind of in the solo-y slash type riff that just kind of goes on and on at the end that I would be quite happy fading out. So when we've got the intro to a time that we're particularly happy with, the rest can fade out. Okay, so it's 34 seconds. Let's see how long 15 seconds is. Fade, fade, stream resumed. Yeah, so. Yeah, so that just goes on and on and on. So it may be a 20-second intro. But at the moment, it must be much longer than that. Let's just have a look at how long this is. Intro. Right. 2016 intro. Details. Oh, so it's only 16 seconds at the moment. How? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, right, okay. So I'm actually not making it any shorter. Crap. Right, well that's something that's worth thinking about. I must have cut a load of it out in the edit. So... See what happens if I do this. Maybe make that longer. Maybe not that long. Where's the master channel? Show me the master. Let's put the fade out on this ourselves rather than doing that in Premiere. V for volume. Let's say we want this to be a 15-second exactly sting. Seconds, come on. Just give myself, I mean, I know I'm being really particular. I can see on the right hand side, there we go, 15 seconds exactly. And another one in there, drag that all the way to the bottom. Alright, so we now have a 15-second stab. Let's just... That's the one we'll want. We changed that. Ask me a question about RME interface. I mean, sure, depends which one, but sure, why not? I have had the Babyface and the Raydat. They are the only two RME interfaces I have had. They've both been great. The Babyface was very expensive, but that was one that I used for quite a while until I got the ID4, which I'm using, and the other Audion interfaces, which have been really, really good for the money. Ooh, there we are. Sorry, just moving the mic a bit so we get more of me and less of the outside world. So. No China in the overheads. Let's just look at the mixer for this. Overhead.ssd4. Ah, that should be going out 5. And the room for SSD. Yeah, so the room is rated right. Let's just see how much that mono affects things. But turn off that mono channel. Does have the impact I want. I'll just take it down a touch. There we go, and I'll just do another. It's interesting what you find when you really dive in. Overwrite, yes. There we go. Now this should be us done with Reaper for the day. So I'm going to close that down. I'm going to get SonarWorks working once again. And left, right.
Left, right.
Ooh.
Left, right.
Yeah, we know that's working. SonarWorks, if you've not seen me use this before, it corrects the headphone profiles so that you get a much more accurate kind of sound. Now I'm going to disable that now because I'm actually using different headphones and that would just be counteractive. Let's go back to Premiere. I'm going to make an entirely new project for this. So, new project, new folder, I think. Let's make a new folder. Title screen 2018. And then call it exactly the same. HPS-title screen-2018. GPU acceleration, yes, yes, yes. Default workspace, sure, whatever. And let's make a new bin for source files and a new sequence. And I'm going to do this in 4K. Let's use DNxR, UHD. 25 frames a second is what I usually use. HQ will do fine. So it's lower layer. Yep, okay. So that's a 4K sequence now. Let's first import the sound, and we're going to make the title card around the sound. So we're essentially going to remake the intro sequence, but with new footage in a new way, so that the way that we do it, hopefully, will be easy to drop in to a Premiere sequence. Because at the moment, the way that I do it, to get that kind of cool wipe at the end and the intro fade at the start, is I rendered the whole thing from After Effects with an alpha layer as a QuickTime MOV file as a PNG, which is like 900 megabytes for the 16 seconds of intro, which is insane, and means it's very difficult to edit. And if I wanted to put, say, a title text in that, I'd have to re-render it every time with nearly a gigabyte of footage for 16 seconds worth, and that's just not, you know, that's not worth doing. So let's have a look. Where did I put this wave file? There we are, 15 seconds. So that's going in, and that can go on the audio. So if we hit play on this, oh yeah, this is all mono audio. Great. So let's just delete all the audio tracks off here, because that's stupid that a preset in this day and age has mono anything. It's just stupid. Everything should be stereo. There we go. Let's just turn that down because that's deafening. Sorry about that. Right, so that's the point where let's use Photoshop for a bit of this. So if I, yeah. Okay, so yeah, let's crack open Photoshop. You got an RME AO with extension for 4 extra inputs, and the RME ARC. Right, sounds like a great decision. I'm not sure about the extra inputs though. If that's one of the expansion cards that they do, that's not what I would have picked, because they're quite old and out of date, and I think they only work at 44 or 48K. But if that's what you're working at, hey, they're decent enough for that. The AIO is a great choice for if you're using really low latency, high stability stuff at home. It's not going to go wrong. I mean, I use the ARC day in, day out in the studio. That controls my whole total mix setup. And the only thing I would probably add to that is some sort of ADAT based preamp system to get the best quality sound in. But hey, if the Kemper has digital input and output, does it use AES, if I remember rightly? You could synchronize the Kemper and use the digital input and output, if that's possible, And that would be absolutely ridiculously good quality, because that's then no conversion. Beyond you playing the guitar and it going to the front of the Kemper, that is then perfect digital conversion straight to your computer with as little latency as possible. That would be amazing. So yeah, it'll take you a little more setup to get that just right, but yeah, that's a great decision in my opinion. So let's make a new Photoshop file. That will be film and video. View all presets. UHD 4K 2160p with a white background. Yep, 8-bit, 72 DPI. Create. Ooh, advanced options. Yeah, don't need any of that. Right, so this is going to become the title card. So what I need to drop in here is the logo. Do I still have... yeah. Suppose I'll have to drop that, oh, that in. That kind of size, because it being a vector image, it's going to be absolutely crisp. Drop that in. Then say that that's the only bit that I actually want and mask it, and then put that there. Yeah, so that's aligned to the middle. Perfect. So that's now going. Hell, let's make it bigger. Really want it to pop. Oh no. I mean, it's in 4K. It's going to be crisp as anything. There we go. Align it to the center. Yes, please. Yep, apply. That is crispy. So that's going to be our title card, and then underneath in Premiere we're going to have the text that's going to be kind of either funny or introducing it or whatever, and that's going to be an extra thing. And these blue guidelines are for title safes, which means if you were to watch this on a TV, anything outside there would likely get cut off, which in this case, of course, isn't a problem. On YouTube, usually isn't a problem either. I'm going to put this in the common files. Okay, HPS dash logo, oh, dash title screen dash 4K. And I'm going to save that again, but as something that's, let's say as a TIFF file. Because that will be, yep, LZW? Layer compression, discard layers and save a copy. That's what I really want. I want this to just be a flattened image that's perfect quality and nice and easy to bring back. Oh yeah, I was supposed to do it in the Dropbox common files. But yeah, that's tiny because it's only got one color in it, which is nice. And that's the first thing. So I want a transparent background. Can I do transparency? It doesn't matter, does it? Let's hit create and then unlock the background and turn it off. So the other thing that I had going on the original intro, which I think I want to redo, was, how did I do it now? I had a kind of a texture over the top of everything, and I can't remember how I did it for the life of me. I wonder if I've still got the After Effects project in here. Yeah, so let's just have a look at this. The footage will be missing. But if I can use a bit of detective work to see what I did and how. Ooh, it must be converted. Yep, fine, whatever. Don't care about fonts. Let's have a look. That's, oh, that's the retro. I've opened the wrong one. What an idiot. Okay, so let's close that. Let's see what else was in here. Must be stored on one of the backup drives. Right, okay, well, I'll just have to work this out then, won't I? Because what I had was this kind of Venetian blinds effect type thing. Let's see if it's a filter. That definitely wasn't it. That's what it was. It was an interlacing pattern. How did I do it? Come on, brain. Did I just Google interlace? Images, something like that. You know what? I'm not even going to bother with that this time around. Let's just drop the TIFF file in here that we just made. Because that can go in there. And that is going to scale over those many seconds. And I'm going to have it come in half a second before, because that's what I did last time. And just make the audio a bit bigger so I can see where that bang is. Because what I want is to have a linear wipe. Some sort of wipe. Yeah, probably it. Yeah, so if we have a wipe, there we go, that starts in the corner, and can I feather it? That's the bit that I was struggling with last time. That's why I did it in After Effects. And wipe, gradient wipe, bingo. Gradient wipe. What? Why can't it just be a gradient? Why can't it just be just a... I bet band wipes know better. What I want really is a Star Wars wipe. Clock wipe. Come on. We're getting somewhere anyway. What's VR gradient wipe? Right, okay, well this is strange, but not what we're after. Let's just go back to gradient wipe. And let's hit save, go back to Photoshop, make a new, I don't know, 600 by 600. And make a gradient in it. How can they make it this difficult? Honestly. Let's do that with it and see if that... Yeah, let's make it a full soft gradient and then save that as gradient.tiff. Why not? See what happens if I select a file. I mean, how big does it expect this thing to be? Well, I seem to have killed it by doing the one thing that it tells me to do. Great. This is why I hit save a lot. Screw you, Premiere. Let's just search Premiere soft wipe. Let's create a feather wipe. Ah, right, okay, so instead of a transition, I need to put it on as an effect. That's really quite irritating, but okay. Linear wipe. So I need to start that there, finish there, and have the feather to be like that. Okay, well that's terrible, but sure. Okay, well, now that I know that exists, cool. So, this is where we start picking through what video I have and dropping that in at the right times. So this is where we start hunting through footage, of which I have far too much. Let's start with playing to a click, because the first thing I want is some sort of drums. Don't want the sound off it, I literally just want the come on. Let's just go with that. Just drop that on and see how that looks. Oh, nope, nope. And then use Y to slide that over until that comes down. Cut it there. It's not exactly the same, but I don't really care. So let's zoom it in from there and scale it so that it's constantly moving, something you'll probably see me do quite a lot. Go away. And I'm not going to put a fade at the very beginning because I'm going to do that in the essential graphics so that I can time that so that if I want it to be different, I can. Right, so I need now eight pieces of footage. So I've done drums. Let's just have a look at Reaper basics, because what I really want to do in this title sequence is maybe have text over it, even though it flashes and goes by. I want to have like drum production, Reaper tutorials, blah 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 blah. Okay, so let's see if I can find a bit on here that looks... That'll do. Tiny little bit of it. Just drop that. Whoa, that is way longer than I thought it would be. Wow. So first thing is scale that to the frame size. Then probably push. I'm going to push the zoom on all of these. Not by that much though. I want them to be moving, but visible as to what they are. Down, down, down. So those are all the yeah, I'll pull in the loose cube one, why not? Pretty sure I just sort of, there we go. Come on. Any minute now I'm going to start pulling out the archive drives. So let's see what we've got on those, because of course with 350 videos under the belt, there is plenty to be going on with, so I'm going to start plugging in one of the older external drives that I have sat here. Oh yeah, I need to be a real adult and read the gas meter. Let's just see if, yeah, there we go. See if in this particular piece of source footage, which I can always just quickly grade if I actually turn up the gain on anything. No, in hindsight that wasn't the best piece of footage. There. There, max. That's where it goes to. And I need that to be later on using the nudge tool. Scale that to frame size. Quickly open Lumetri and grade it using the, there we are, simple contrast, more light, more color, vignette. And then push in the scale a little. There we go. So a few more of these and we'll have a thing with stuff. So come on, import. There we are. Is that the one where I stab the kick drum hole? Because that made for a pretty good visual.
Down a hole and one with two.
There.
With.
That's the next piece. Oh, what have I done? That goes in there. Okay, it seems like the out point didn't work, but never mind. So that's where that stab should go. Maybe that should go a frame back. And and that should be that big, and it should be that colour, and it should be brighter and have much more of a vignette. A little more colour, a little less green, a little more green, a bit more sharpness. And definitely that scale pop. What else do we do on the channel? Let's just use the Les Mis. Oh, that's too loud. Sorry about that. But if that pops in there, yeah. So that's the right. That is 4K. So that's cool. Let's get that properly graded, nice and bright. Lots of vignette to take away from the fact that the edges of that lens don't darken like a vintage lens, because it's a decent lens and good lenses shouldn't do that unless you want them to. Oh, too fast a zoom. So that should be 1.5 to match. And a little less saturation, maybe. So we've got. Wow. What? Where did that click come from? Was that me? Yeah, so we're getting there. Just got to have interesting things happen. So we've covered guitars, we've covered vocals. That one's got bass in it. We only need a few seconds, so let's stab that in there. No, that's where I want that cut to be. So that stops there. Sets frame size. In fact, I'm just going to borrow the grade from another one. Save myself some time. Too bright, but that's easily fixed. More sharpens. Less highlights. Brightness back up. Scale 200 to, I don't know, 220, I guess. So what do we have that we've not covered? This is all just stuff that's on my hard drive from recently as well. So we've just done drums, we've done vocals, we've done guitar part, we've done bass. Right, we're starting to exhaust that, so let's go on to some backup stuff, because there's plenty in here. Oh, that's a good image. Grill cloth.
Transparent. It's also visually
Wow. Right, so let's just see how long of that we need. There we go, that's it, that's all we need. Scale to frame size. Effect controls, scale, yes. So that's going to 110. There. Click. There. So let's just have a look at this from the top, because I need 2 more. No, I'll get the rest of the footage in. Patience. Let's just have a bit where I'm talking to camera. Scale. Vignette that as well. Scale it. I'm breaking a lot of my own kind of rules, but this is just to make this look cool rather than look particularly accurate. Yeah, so I've done a few videos that have got like the 4 panel going on, so if I can remember what they were, that would be amazing. Come on, brain. Reaper routing series, parallel, Sontronics. Sonar works, speakers, Tremonti. I think there's a helicopter going past which is making that horrible noise. Viewer comments. Oh, viewers' comments. Which was the one where I cut the guitar strings? Was it? Oh. Ooh. I think it was something like viewers' comments 11 or something like that. I don't know where that one's gone. HPS viewers' comments. I don't remember. Let's just have a quick look with VLC and see if this is the one where...
Indonesia or China or all of the discussion that, in fact, beginning. If 4 strings on a guitar is good enough for Max Cavalier, in fact, this and this guitar.
See. Yeah, so that's probably the shot. So if I go, yeah, click, and use that, why not? Definitely scale that to frame size, make that a little brighter compared to the others. Touch of the vignette. Mucho sharpen. as well. Okay, here we go. Hello. Okay, so yeah, this is going to work. It's just a question of whether do I now want to add text. So yeah, let's just make a new color map that's white and add that over the top of everything. Because the first thing that I had, yeah, there we are. So was it a multiply mat? No, it was definitely not a multiply mat. I think it was just a lighten. Was it screen? It may have just been a normal, but just on very, very lightly. That's Chris calling about tonight's live stream. Hello, you're live on Hotball Studios YouTube channel. What's up? Alright, did you forget? That's alright. I'm live now for a completely different reason. I'm remaking the intro screen, but I figured if I went live it'd stick a rocket up my backside. Yeah, if you're available and up for it. Yeah, you let me know what time you want to do when you're home and set up, and we'll do that. This is literally just, I figured I'd go live, but yeah, don't worry about it. Oh, yeah, I forgot. Yeah, no problem. Alright, nice one. Alright, see you in a bit. Alright, bye. Okay, that was Christian, because we're going to do an episode of the Hopcast this evening, when he is available. In the meantime, let's see what effects we have. That we can turn this into that shuttery type thing. Strobe light, that sounds bad. Let's not do that. Blinds? Venetian blinds. That was exactly it. direction being 90 degrees. Yeah, there we go. So, yeah. Just a few pixels. Bingo. Yeah, so it just gives it a texture over the top, which I quite liked because it gave me the impression of it being something a little different. So let's make some titles over the top of this. It's going to end up with a lot of video layers. But from here, let's just make an essential graphic for this. And then just copy it across. So, din, pro, bold, pretty damn big. Let's just say for this one, tutorial. Yeah, so DAW tutorials. I'm gonna make a shape for that to go. That's gonna go underneath. It's gonna hopefully make things much more readable. So that's gonna be from there to there. Let's see what happens if I give that a tiny little stroke. Oh, so I want to have that layer activated so it drops on there. And there. And then I'm going to put one in here that's going to be completely on the other side and justified the other way. Right, so that's now going to get copied many times, many times. Right, so let's change what it says. So reviews, extend the shape out a little. Let's move these around. Hello. here we go. What else do we do? Come on, that shouldn't be viewers' comments. That should be something profound. Yes. No, there we go. Perfect. Okay, so let's get this rendered out. So it should be 15 seconds on the dot. I want this to be H.264 4K. Yeah, I don't mind this being 70 megabytes or whatever it is, because compared to the 8 and 900 before, that's still pretty good. And even if, you know what, can I go higher than that? I'm gonna go with 10-bit. Oh, no, killed it. And that's why I hit save beforehand. So I'm guessing that level 6 is for like 8K footage and crazy stuff like that. So we don't want to do that. Okay. Lesson learned. Let's take caps lock off. Let's get this rendered out one more time. Title screen. Bada bing, bada boom. And of course the question here is, why didn't I just turn this into the essential graphic? And I think if I did that, it would encapsulate all of the entire piece of each footage into the essential graphic, which would mean I'd end up with a 30 or 40 gigabyte essential graphic when I want just this bit to be pre-rendered. So I want this to be the highest quality that I can reasonably make it. In fact, you know what? It's 4K. Let's make it DNX. Let's go with DNX HR 10-bit, which should keep any of the bits that I've graded to be that quality. Yeah. Audio 48K 24-bit. Yes, please, because the audio was 24-bit. Why would I not do that? Because it's 15 seconds long. Screw it. Okay, so Dropbox Studio. Let's see how long this MXF file becomes. Just hit export, see how long that takes. Because some of these frames exporting at full quality in 4K may take a little while because of the extra layers that I've put on it, but we'll see. Telling me there's a minute remaining is quite acceptable. What I want is to be able to just drop this into the essential graphic, add a wipe or something at the start, a wipe at the end, and a text layer to put kind of a witty title in there at the end, and then save that with the intro and outro, responsive design stuff. Save that as an essential graphic, and then save that as a file, so that I have a single encapsulated file that I can save to my Dropbox, save to external places, so that no matter where I am, if I then end up at somebody else's machine with some footage that I need to sort out, you know, then I'll be able to just drop that one file in, maybe the fonts if I need the fonts, and I'm off. That should save me tons of time. That's the idea, at least. So from here, let's make a new sequence and call this essential graphic. No, it'll moan at me. I'll need. It's in the studio folder. I should have put it in common files. I'll move it. That should have gone in here because my common files folder is where all my assets go that are fairly global. I know. Okay, so what I actually wanted to do was drop the audio on that adaptive layer there. Whatever, that'll do, because I can just go to the track mixer and... No, why? Just have that on the left and that on the right, which is an extra step that you really shouldn't have to do, but never mind. So from here, that's one ready rendered file. I didn't actually look at how big it was. Let's just have a quick gander, because that's going to determine the size of the next part. Oh, gee whiz, 1.28 gigabytes. Let's not, eh? Let's re-render this as a different format. Yeah, maybe not. Brash on trying to pick 6 point something. But if I go for 5.2, that should work fine. I basically want this to be the highest profile encoding that I can have. I really don't. Common files, lower layer. Let's get that exporting and let's go back to common files. No, wrong one. Dropbox, common files, and just get rid of that massive gringo byte size file. Let's just get the This render's not going to take much longer, and yeah, I expected it to be a bit bigger, but that was just silly big. So, nah, maybe not. I know this is getting to be quite a long stream, but then I said this is more for my benefit than anybody else's, so I appreciate if anyone's actually watching this. Right. Don't want that, so just offline it. That's fine. Get rid. Get rid. Import. Lower layer. MP4. How big are you? 73 megabytes. That's quite the difference. Okay. Okay, that's now kind of a big red. No, don't open. Oh, for flipping heck's sake. Yes. Right. Got old tech issues. Don't know what that red screen's about, but let's just watch this in VLC and see if that's the culprit. That looks fine. So, let's just get Premiere open one more time in case it was just a bit of a codec fail. So close to turning this into an essential graphic. It's going to be... oh, there we go. It's having sound issues because I opened Reaper, which has caused some left, right. Hello? Cause some hardware issues. This may be time for a restart. And before anyone says, oh, that wouldn't happen on a Mac, I bet you it would. I've had far worse crashes on a Mac. Also, baby make noise. Yep, it's time for a restart. So for a very brief second, it's going to say, no signal, oh my god. Yes, yes. A problem has occurred in Bitdefender because it's trying to be closed. Yes, because I'm trying to shut the computer down. You technological plant pot. Okay, we're getting there. At the very least, I don't have to show any of you my password because I've got a cool finger scannery thing. So that's that done. Now, back to the task at hand. At least by having an SSD for startup on this laptop, it makes things pretty fast. Okay, go away. No, go away. Go away. Right, back to normal. Right, actually, thinking about it, didn't want to add that in there. I wanted to... Go away. No. Make an essential graphic and add that from a file. HPS title screen. That's the one. And that should... Hello? Effects one, it brings the sound in, that much I am aware of. If you do it as a for that, so I'll just drop that in instead. In fact, I'm going to make a point of doing that. And audio. How long is that? I'm going to bring it in from the bottom left for the first time, because why not? Make it a big, long feather. And I'm going to put transition completion there. And finish it there. So we should get... Right. You don't get to see the drum hit. So... Let's just bring that into there. Just bring that key point across. So let's time this to be exactly a 2-second wipe. And there we go. So, why did I do 2 copies of linear wipe rather than 1 there? Well, I don't actually want... I don't want the same wipe going forward and backwards. I want... Let's just have a look at... I want it to wipe out. Yeah, so that way round. Yeah, so I want a big feather on it. And I want want it to start there and end at the very end. So there we go. There we go. So that should, yeah. Yep, so without me having to have a video file with a separate alpha transparency layer, I've now got my fade wipes in there. And now I can add some text in here. It goes there. That is center aligned, centralized, center aligned again. That is din pro regular in black. That can start with it can be witty title text or real title. So it comes in there. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use a wipe. I'm going to copy it onto the text. And I'm going to move these all the way over here. Ah, that seems to affect everything. Great. Well, that's really annoying. So let's can the wipe idea on the text. And yeah, let's fade it then. So I'll go back a few frames, do 0. And just there, just fade it out by there. And that should do us. That will be an appropriate intro. Okay, oh, one more thing. I'm going to shift the opacity out a little more. And I'm going to push the scale on it. From there, and make it maybe 120. Let's see how that does. Yeah, bingo. So everything moves. So we now have a 4K essential graphic. Everything working perfectly. We've got our new transition that's Premiere based. We've got lovely end cards and everything. So yes, what do we do now? That's the question. Oh, literally just had an email dropped introducing the American EQ from Slate that is, by the looks of things, an API style EQ. So I'm gonna have to do a video about that tomorrow evening. In the meantime, and I'll mention that to Chris on stream, let's make, how do we export as motion graphic template? Yes, so local drive, title screen 2018, include video thumbnail. Okay, yep. And yes, note to self that I'm gonna need. Oh. No, that's fine. This one's never going to need responsive graphics, where the lower third one definitely did. This should mostly just be a save function. So this should be somewhere in this folder. Yogurt, yep. So it's 84 meg. Okay. Perfect. So that will now, and I'll need to drop the audio in at the same keyframe time on it, and then get ready, eat, and then go live for the Hopcast episode 5 at 8:30. So if anyone's going to watch that, I will see.
You can find here, or check out our Facebook and Twitter, or our Patreon page, which helps us to make more videos like this.